Just want to give a reminder before we start the meeting that all council meetings will be audio and videotaped during the workshop. So let's have a roll call, please.
Mayor Nakatani?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Donlin?
Here.
Is that a voice?
I don't know.
Here.
Council members Ochero?
Yes.
Fisher?
Here.
Terry?
Yes.
The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied, and a copy of the annual notice was sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Coaster posted in Town Hall and filed in the office of the municipal clerk on December 8th, 2022. Items for discussion. We do not have... Yeah. Oh, yeah, you gotta get Dave on the phone. We don't have Greg Blash here, so it's gonna be Ricky giving the budget report.
I'm not going to put it on speaker till later.
9, 1.
You're so helpful.
Really, Rob? What do I
Really,
do for a living?
Rob.
Come on.
Oh, Rob. Anybody?
No. Rich isn't here. Rich would answer that.
You don't know what that is from?
No.
Mary Tyler Moore.
Thank you. Dick Van Dyke Show, actually.
What,
It was Mary
Rob.
Tyler Moore in the
Oh, I
Dick
got
Van
you.
Dyke
Yes,
Show.
yes.
Should we have a moment of silence for Jerry Springer,
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
He was an interesting guy, actually, I thought.
Mayor of Cincinnati?
Never watched his show, but I thought he was interesting. Come on.
908 451 351. When did your voice?
Just talk to him.
Want me to text him?
Hi David, can you definitely attend according to the meeting? Please give us a call back or text me off later. Thanks.
No, thanks.
Nice.
Okay, Ricky, let's, we can start. If we can get him on the phone, I'll text him now and see if he's ready, but we can start. Go
You
ahead.
have, I've provided you a copy of the introduced budget. The bottom line on the tax levy has not changed since the last time we spoke. Everything remains the same. There were a few tweaks that had to be made. One primarily was for the price of chlorine at the pool. It has gone through the roof. So we had to add some money to recreation's line item to cover that. To the tune of $25,000.
Okay.
How much?
$5,000.
Okay. You're on.
Jess, do me a favor. Jess,
It's
put it
only
in the middle.
$5 again.
Put the phone in the middle,
Plus
please.
the fuel surcharge. Yeah, and that went out to bid, so that was the lowest one we got.
Cha-ching.
So, at the previous meeting in March, I had provided you, and you had adopted two resolutions moving money, one to the reserve for storm recovery, and one was to reserve for the deferred sick and vacation leaves. I reduced DPW by the $25,000 to cover that cost, because we had extra in the reserve if it was necessary due to a snowfall that we didn't have this. So, we're in good shape either way.
How much did we save because it didn't snow?
We have in that line item, for the outside contractor, $90,000, but that could still occur in December, that we would need it in the budget. And the actual 120 we have budgeted for salt, et cetera, so we reduced that by 25. Because we have the reserve.
So that'll be, we'll be safe, because I would even be concerned with half of November too. So we'll be safe with that, right?
Yes, there's plenty in the reserve to get us through, if necessary.
Yep.
Other than that, I don't know if you want me to go specifically, what we just spoke about last time is all the same. There is one slight change of the resolution that you were given for adoption tonight. The bottom line hasn't changed. You were given on page 3 of your budget a dollar amount that was gonna be inside the cap of $31,706,125. That is actually gonna be $31,714,405. But in the same sense, you were given for municipal purpose outside the cap, $6,133,122.70. That's dropping to $6,124,42.70. The totals overall are the same, I just had to move money between the two. So that'll be the revised resolution for adoption tonight.
Easy enough?
The public hearing will be held on June 8th.
Oh.
At 7 o'clock.
I'm sorry. I was thinking that was tonight.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. But I want a closed session.
Yeah.
What was the actual tax rate?
Municipal tax rate will be .321. It was .36 in 2022. It's a drop of .039.
Does that include the fire district, or is that purely
Municipal, period.
period without the library and stuff?
They don't have a library tax there.
Does that include open space or
No.
does not?
Just municipal.
Just,
The open space is 1 cent a
It's
year, no matter
fixed.
what. Correct.
okay.
That's pretty cool. I got it. John, get it?
Just tell them to do it separate like Dave told me to, because
Do
it bleeds
separate,
through.
Don't do it on top.
Yeah,
Or
'cause
does
it
it
bleeds
matter-
through.
Does it matter that, that
Oh,
there's
one more.
a ton of tax reports? I don't know, I know you put in 96 and a quarter, is that, is that about what we've had previously?
It's actually been lower than that.
I mean, we've collected.
96, yeah.
Yeah, okay, because we have the same number.
Correct.
this year.
Yeah. That'll get adjudicated once the final levy comes through.
Okay.
And you have us at 96 point,
2.5.
what do you anticipate for 2022?
For 23,
Well, 20, what did we get last year? Were we at,
we were at 96.25.
We were at
on
the
the
same.
last year too.
okay,
Correct.
so you're just going based off of what we did this
Well,
prior
it's
year?
a funding tool within your budget as well, because we realized 98.9 in 2021, and we were at 99.06 in 2022.
Yep,
So it just offsets what we utilize in surplus to rebuild it.
My math stinks, so 3% of 4 million is
120 grand.
120,000-ish.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
If we're at 99 and we're using 96.25, that's about 125,000-ish.
Mhm.
How much is in the reserve?
Well, you said, wait a minute, you said 4 million.
Reserve fund collected taxes, 4.45 million.
40, it's 40,
4 million.
so 3%.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we were chatting. What was that number?
Page 3.
4.45 million. On page 20, on page 30 or 29, it gives you that number? Both pages do?
Sheet 29?
Correct.
Okay. Got it.
So comparable to years past, though.
Exactly.
So now is the golf course, because it's a utility, does it become its own entity? Or is-
Correct.
So the town, they have to file their own taxes or?
No.
Not taxes, but it's still with us.
Correct.
Okay. But it's just treated.
Say hello.
Correct.
That's Dave, he hung up.
Welcome to the table.
Just pick up the phone.
That's it? I don't have to press anything?
Nope.
Hello? Hello? Who's this?
We're being recorded.
Dave Brown. And what's your business? Okay. hold on, let me put it.
Now you gotta push the button.
Now I gotta press a button.
Speak, the one that says speaker.
I'm sure it is, but you're talking to guys have one. Got it.
Top left, I think. There you go. There you go.
Okay. Nice to have you with us, Dave.
Who was here?
Yep, thank you. Got disconnected.
He answer that one for you, Dave? I'm good.
Ricky, how much the value of the town go up? I know it's not finalized, but,
Almost 1.2.
and the average home increase, tax, if there was one, or decrease?
The average homeowner increase will be about $13 a month.
Ricky, we had there were a lot of factors with this budget that were challenging. I mean, you could see it when we were discussing this in the beginning.
No doubt.
So I think with all the challenges and, the charge of the council, I think that, overall, it's pretty solid and it's tight. I know we had to cut a few things out, and push off the next year. Not that it was kicking the can at all. It was just financially, it was a smarter move. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we had about, $1.2 million to $1.4 million in costs that we had no control over. $560,000 with a health benefits increase, the union contract negotiations that we had that are in there. So roughly, what do we have that we had absolutely no control over?
The union contracts alone at 2.5% were roughly $500,000.
Right. And then the
And
health
then-
benefits were another $560,000.
Correct.
So we had $1.06 million in increases.
Your two pension bills were another $125,000.
Yep. So I mean, when you're looking at that budget, I mean, you're looking at about $1.2 million before you even start looking at equipment that we need and everything else.
Equipment will come through any bond ordinances that we adopt through our
Yep.
capital budget. Correct.
Is it fair to say that the increase for all the mandatory numbers, like the pension, pretty much eats up the cap?
No, the state allowed us to move part of that outside of our cap this year, a one-time shot. So, we were allowed to move $417,000 for our health insurance outside the cap, another $125,000 outside the cap for our two pension bills.
Let's go around. Rob, any questions for Ricky while we're here?
Other than what Matt just brought up, I wasn't gonna ask that. I didn't think about it. So the fact that they allowed us to be
Thanks,
out. No, it's a good question. The fact that they allowed us to be outside the cap. So I saw that we were at 3.5, so the 31 million was, sorry, make sure I'm looking at the right, sheet 3B? Is that where I should be looking? In and outside?
Correct?
So the fact that, what was that, about $500,000? Did I hear you right? 475 and 125?
Mhm.
So that, if they didn't allow that outside of the cap, we would have still been under the cap?
No.
That's what I wanted to know. Okay. Okay.
It will play into 2024's budget if they do not allow a cap exception for bringing it back in next year.
Say
It'll
that.
play into the 2024 budget if they do not allow a cap exception for bringing it back into the budget, inside the cap next year.
When would we know that by?
December. If we're lucky. They've already told us to plan on not having that occur, but there'll be enough people to get to their legislatures to probably help them along with that.
Got it.
Because that will, and I mean, the biggest driver obviously is the health insurance.
Right.
And we're seriously looking at doing something different to cut our costs on that. So.
I'm sorry, that was all I had.
Okay. Marge? Anything?
No, were we outside the cap last year?
Not for their health insurance, no.
No, so this is really driven by the health insurance costs
Correct.
that are,
Yep.
and the chlorine.
And no, the chlorine's
I'm
still
just-
inside the cap.
No, I'm kidding.
Not everybody has a pool. Hey,
Dave?
I had two questions. What was the difference in the solid waste landfill from this year to last year? I know that's a big cost that goes up, right?
We increased our line item approximately $60,000.
It's incredible. So recycling is no longer a profitable business.
Not for us.
No,
We're gonna
For
start,
somebody.
but
for
we're gonna,
somebody, yes.
yeah.
Not for us.
We're gonna start plastic film recycling, so maybe that'll help.
Yeah, that's a drop.
Is that a, you still have is there a contract,
A
one
little
contract for solid
Hey,
waste?
every drop.
No.
You know, not sure. I assume
Well,
they're not-
they go to the county, so it's,
I didn't know whether or not we were, you're talking general, I mean, whether or not we were renewing, like,
We
we
have
take
a-
an option on a second, an option on the year on a contract versus renegotiating it one out of bid.
well, we collect our own, so that's, our salaries and wages are, it's nothing that I go out to bid on.
Oh, okay, we got dumping fees though.
Exactly, that's through the county.
You like that?
And my last question, what was the amount that we're allocating towards the Parks and Rec? I couldn't find that number.
He knows.
No.
He should.
Talking
Yeah.
specifically
I think
open
we all-
space or just recreation?
Recreation.
Recreation's on 15C.
I'll be back on track in 2 weeks.
15C.
So we can't actually answer them.
Got it?
Top is your
No one needs
salaries and
to answer.
raises
It
and
was
your
just an
other
FYI.
expenses.
Okay,
I
good.
didn't even answer it.
I know.
Now, as far as projects and stuff, is that included in here, or is that,
No,
that's not? That's
Where's
its own
that?
thing.
Forget it.
correct.
Okay. That is all the questions I have.
Kelly?
I don't think I have any. When is the animal control services contract reviewed? Is that annual?
Well, I think the last one was 2 years, wasn't it? This is the end of the second year, I think, Dave?
We do it every year.
We renew it, but I think it was
For
two
two-
one-year
2 1-year,
options, I
right.
believe. So at the end of this year, it would be up again.
Okay, so we can discuss that at a later date?
Sure.
Okay. That's it for me.
Okay. Ricky, I have no questions. Like I said, I think we were pretty tight here with this budget. There really wasn't a lot of room to squeeze, as much as we wanted you to. You know, we've got projects that need to be done and things in the municipality to, you know, make us look good. So, you know, I think you did a good job with the budget. I appreciate your hard work on it. And, you know, you kept us in a good number. You know, I appreciate that. Thanks, Ricky.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yep.
We may want to ask, because I was wrong. Maybe he's staying.
Oh, no, he's staying through work session, through closed session.
You'll stay through close?
Yeah,
Up here?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, no other questions on the budget? Moving right along. Dave?
Brown.
Dave
Yeah,
Brown.
Yep, I'm here.
Dave Brown, any questions on the budget?
No, I sat down with Ricky a few times on it, so I'm good.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Dave, next up on the list, any township matter updates?
Nothing other than if anyone has any questions on any items on the agenda. I do have one for a closed session.
Okay,
The negotiations with affordable housing.
yes, and we have one as well on the agenda that we want to discuss in closed session in regard to that issue we spoke about earlier.
Okay.
Okay. We don't have Greg here to give the updates. Community garden update.
Yes, so I had met with the new presidents of the garden club, Diane Sermonte and Michelle Hazel, talking about a potential community garden. They're gonna do some research into other towns that have one, like Shrewsbury and Tinton Falls, and get back to us. We were talking about potential sites, so I think if you have any ideas or feedback, they were thinking maybe behind Palaya Park, near the mulch pile area. If there's water access there, that would be ideal. So if there's any interest or thoughts about developing a community garden from the council and potential sites.
Margie, what do you envision with the community garden? Like, it's a space where people would have a place to plant?
Yeah,
What they
so-
wanna plant?
Yeah, so there can be two, some people in town might not have space to plant.
Right,
They might live in an apartment, or they might only have shaded areas because of trees, so it would give residents an opportunity to plant and grow vegetables or
Yep.
whatever they want in a plot, so
Right.
it would be fenced in from the deer.
Right.
There'd be a padlock, and you'd have access to,
Right.
If you had a plot. So that's one potential
right.
plan. Another is to do one maybe closer to the apartments, maybe back towards the Cindy Lane area, giving residents who really don't have access to garden space, some access to garden space. But any thoughts about
So would this be
potential
like your
locations?
own private spot, like, my family has this, and we grow tomatoes and vegetables type of thing?
So it'd probably be, if you're interested in growing it, you could have a spot,
Mhm.
sign up for maintenance, a community garden where everyone would contribute.
Is there potentially a place within the complexes, like I know Middlebrook has some space, Continental has some space, Twinbrook has some space, is there potentially, like, we could set up maybe a few different areas?
Middlebrook has
That'd be
one.
on.
Middlebrook has
It's on
a
private
shared garden?
They have a community garden.
Oh, they do, okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, I
that's on
think to
private
start
property.
would maybe just
what?
That's on
one
private
area.
Well, I'm thinking
On
about the
our-
apartments. I'm thinking about, because they don't have that accessibility to having open space, really. They don't
No,
have
I
a
mean, if you were
background.
looking to do a community garden,
Yeah,
they
well,
would be doing it themselves.
right.
Didn't the high school do something, some type of project? I remember Haley Stamos did something over at the high school with a community garden. I don't know what location they utilized.
They use it on school property?
That I'll have to ask her.
Yeah.
They like grew vegetables and stuff, and they were allowed, each family was allowed to retrieve
Okay.
items.
Keyport does have one.
Keyport has one too. Yeah, the one in Shrewsbury is really well maintained. I don't know if you've been there, but it's on the back, it's on the corner of 35 and Shrewsbury Avenue in that complex, the historical area. I don't know
Right.
what it's called,
Is
but
that the borough or the township? I always forget which one.
it's not the township, it's the borough.
Matt, where did you guys have yours?
There was an old water tower that got taken down. It's on Elizabeth Street. I don't know if it's pretty much 10 blocks away from the water, but it's an old water tank. They took down, basically said, fenced it in, and said, here you go. They have little plots of, like,
Right.
the councilman said, little plots, people pay like $5 a year or something.
Right.
And they have their little box that they plant and go in and
Huh.
grow whatever they want to.
Yeah, competitions, who can grow the biggest
Yeah.
tomato?
Yeah, I mean, there's a growing interest in the garden club.
Industry.
The
No pun intended
membership,
on that one.
growing interest, exactly. It's springtime, so maybe people are, getting into gardening, so.
I think it's a good idea.
I
We
think
give it
there's
some
more and more
thought and see
people.
where we can potentially put it. I mean,
Okay.
Palaya Park, obviously, and Cindy Lane isn't a bad area over there potentially, so, yeah, let's look
Need
into
some
it.
access to water, though, I think that's the key.
Yeah, access to water is
Yeah.
Wasn't there one there?
Don't they have those
with the
retention things?
library and the
That could be
museum
set up,
is?
yeah.
That
Rainwater?
big lot
Yeah,
there?
yeah. As long as
Was
it's
that a
rain.
garden job?
Yeah, rain barrels and that kind of thing.
That's a meadow, you're talking about to
You
the
mean
right there?
out in the
Yeah.
middle?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a meadow and that got trimmed down because they landed the helicopter there the other day.
Okay. so
They didn't have the
that-
garden there, and the only other spot it could have been was where we just did the memorial, so, no, there's nothing over there now. But that's a potential area over there, on the other,
Yeah.
sorta near, Human
The li-
Services.
Yeah, that's a good spot too.
Yeah, and that's like becoming
Yeah.
a nice
And-
focal point over
Yeah,
there.
that's true, that's true.
Yeah, right near the tower, which wouldn't be a bad idea. We can go
And they
take a
clear-
look and see
Yeah,
what,
that's a good
what
idea.
we potentially have over there.
I thought they had something over there.
They
years
had
ago.
rain gardens but not a
Or rain
community
gardens? Is that what
garden.
it was?
Yeah, it was rain gardens there, but not a community garden.
Right.
But
Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
That's a
no,
good
it's,
good idea.
That's what it was. I think you're talking about the rain garden.
Yeah.
Maybe, my recollection is what it used to be.
Yeah.
I've matured past that stage.
Well, it's not just age, Jack, believe me.
No, stage, not age. Stage.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Nothing else on items for discussion. Let's go around the horn. Let's start with Rob.
All
Councilman
right.
Chera.
Well, so it's gonna be slow since Greg's not here, and Dave and I met, so you want me to cover some of the stuff from yesterday?
Sure.
So we met with Cedar Village yesterday, and there were a number of outstanding questions that were asked. One was newsletters. They claimed that they didn't get any newsletters. I did check with Tracy, and the newsletter is done, it goes to the printer sends it to the post office sends them out. So from that perspective, I have asked Tracy to provide me with a stack of newsletters that I will drop off over at Cedar Village. But I asked her what we could do, other than following the postman to deliver them and make sure they got there. They're all delivered the same way, let's put it that way.
Yeah, it didn't seem, I don't know, it didn't seem right. I mean, we all got ours, and there were several people in there that did get them. I don't know.
Yeah. My guess, respectfully, is when they see it sitting there, they're gonna, oh, yeah, I remember that.
Probably. So maybe an idea is to leave some in the clubhouse
Yeah.
in Rolling and Cedar,
Yep.
so that they have the access to those newsletters if they don't necessarily see them.
Perfect.
Is there a way to send a few extras to like the manager there, so you're not having late,
Well, we can have this stuff dropped off and delivered. That's what Mike was saying, to get Nobility, Rolling, Cedar, so that they know what the senior services are.
Right.
Not a big deal to
Exactly.
drop off some newsletters too.
Yeah, it just seems, it sounds like they're going out, they just might not be looking at them.
Correct.
So-
Yeah, I think dropping materials off for, the senior calendar and like other things that
Yeah.
might be going on, so that they have a physical, because not everybody's online,
Put them
Right.
up front.
Yep.
We can add Heritage to that list and
Heritage.
and Primrose. So the other big issue was the light and the danger of people getting hit at the light. So a couple of things. I called up the chief, and the chief had already known the answer to the question. He said since that light went up, there have only been 2 accidents there.
What lighting?
66 in Cedar Village. So with that said, he did point out a couple of things. One, that was one. Two, the light is on the sensor, so if cars do come up wanting to cross 66 from either direction, it does recognize it, and then it turns the light.
Definitely not.
Not working?
Absolutely not.
All right,
That does not work, because I go there, my mother lives there.
right,
Does not work.
okay.
I've sat there and waited to get across 66 a long time.
Not working.
Right.
I will let him know.
I'm just telling you, it's
Yeah.
my personal experience when I whip the jug there.
Got it.
It's definitely,
you could be there a
I
while.
sit there in frustration waiting for
Got
that
it.
light to change.
The other item was the speeding on 66. The chief did say that he would put somebody there periodically
Yep.
to try to reduce the speeding. And last, one person mentioned that there was a no U-turn sign when you get into Cedar Village. But obviously,
And they're still doing it.
it's too late, because what are you gonna do if you're in already? So somebody suggested, why not put it out on 66? So the chief is drafting a letter to DOT to see if there is something within the formal sign rules that can be placed outside. So that was being addressed. I don't want to talk about that. Zip codes, we, obviously it's a federal matter. Sidewalks, since Greg wasn't here, we couldn't address yet. And that was it from Cedar Village.
Lantern flies.
Lantern Fires was a Cedar Village issue? So, okay, so I did call
And
up.
Dow Avenue.
I did call up Mark this morning, because when we had the dog park somebody
For the
posted
ticks.
on there, we're concerned about ticks. So I said, hey, Mark, can you send an email to the county, ask them if they can spray for ticks? Interestingly enough, the county does not spray for ticks, because there's no cost-effective means for the county to spray all their parks, and there's nothing out there that prevents the ticks from coming back.
I'm wondering if, once we have the dog park there, I mean, if there's no grass or anything, if it's fenced in to keep the deer out, maybe that issue would be diminished anyway.
They did admit or commit that they would be more aggressively looking at the tick problem
Okay.
at Welts once the dog park was in.
Okay.
So that, they don't have any plans for lanternflies, so, lantern bugs. Bugs or flies?
Yeah, well,
Flies.
initially, you were supposed to call the state if you saw the lantern flies.
Right.
Now they're sort of just saying,
We don't know.
stamp on them, kill them.
Right, that's the official.
That's the official
Yeah.
policy.
The ones at Dow Ave that have basically killed those trees, our tree expert went out and basically the trees are dead, so whatever dead trees there are, they're gonna be removed and disposed of,
Okay.
so.
That was it for Cedar Village news. I think that's it. I'll pass. Reserve my right to come back again.
I don't know about that. I'm not
Your
sure I'm
last
going with
chance,
that.
Rob.
No, I'm good.
Last chance, Rob.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, I have a little shade tree update. We are actually making progress in getting trees in the ground with shade tree funds. So, have had a number of meetings. The two main places that we're focusing on is right by the entrance of the golf course. There's room for 3 trees there. Our tree expert has gone out with the Shade Tree Commission, and they've identified the trees that they want to plant. They're working on purchasing them, and there is a water source right there. So the goal is by the end of May, hopefully sooner by the end of May, they'll be in the ground. The second spot is at, it's going to be a collaboration with the Board of Education. A teacher at the intermediate school has a monarch butterfly garden there, and would like to add 2 plum trees. So they're working with the Shade Tree Commission on getting those purchased and in the ground by the end of May. We need final approval from the Board of Ed, which they're going to work on at their next meeting, May 9th. So once there's final approval, we can get those in the ground. There's a couple of other different areas that they're looking at going forward, but I think once we get the first few in the ground, it'll start going from there. So that's a positive update. I just want to, this is, I don't know if I should mention it now, but like the walking, talking to people, Dow Ave, there's concern that on the weekends when people are parked on both sides, there's not enough safe space to go. Can we talk about
It's
this?
already been, so from the school to Whale Pond is only one side of the road parking.
They shouldn't be parking on the one side. They have,
It is one side.
they
We
have
passed
one
that
side parking.
a couple years ago,
But even on the weekends?
period.
Yeah, period. You can't
Period.
park on
You can't
both
park
sides.
on both
Okay,
sides
all right.
And
because
when-
of that.
And when there's an event, like soccer tournament or anything like that, they ban parking on that whole road.
Right.
On both
Yeah,
sides?
both
Okay.
sides, yeah.
I don't know why it seemed to be a new issue, but,
Yeah, that one's.
okay. And that's it.
Thank you. Dr. Dave.
I know we'll talk about some of the stuff in the public session, but I have to say that I thought the memorial, or the Vietnam Memorial, was incredible. I mean, that thing was insane. The helicopter landing, the amount of people that were there, the enthusiasm everybody had was probably one of the highlights of being on council for 4 years. That was in the top, and there's no getting around it. That was an amazing event. I think we should, I know we've recognized Mike and Jen 100 times, but it takes more than them to put this together, and I think that everybody did a great job. So I'm sure we'll talk about it in the public, but I just thought, I've seen a lot of cool things, but that was right up there in the top, 1 or 2. That is all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Terry.
I know they changed the clean sweep from this weekend. Any idea of when that's being rescheduled, or not really?
Probably
No idea.
June.
June-ish?
Is what they thought.
Okay. I think you already addressed the lantern flies on Dow. Some of this stuff was for Dave and Greg.
Are all those pages have questions?
No.
Okay.
She's not you, Rob.
I did it on purpose.
No.
I know you did. You were feeding the line, I get it.
For the resolutions, there was a question I had. The lease for the lands of the outdoor advertising, are those existing locations and it's just renewals proposals? Is that what that is?
There's existing locations and they're
They're going back out?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. The liquor license at Miller's, that's being transferred over from where?
A pocket license.
A pocket license?
From our.
You already have, we have it. Okay, I didn't know, because
From
there
the
was,
file cabinet to a place.
Pocket license means they hold on to it, they're paying the fee every year, and then eventually they sell it or flip it. That's how it works.
well, there was a talk about New Jersey changing the liquor licensing laws,
Right,
right?
but I think that's
And-
way off if it's, yeah, it's way off if it's ever gonna happen at all.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's been discussed and discussed and discussed.
Oh, okay. They just keep bringing it up
Yeah.
like it's new. Okay. Nope, I think that's it for me.
Thank you. I do not have a report. Make it nice and easy. I know we had a couple people from the public here that wanna speak up. Let's start over here.
Okay, how much time do I have?
Maybe like 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you need,
Oh, no, that's wonderful.
you need more than that?
No.
Cause I was gonna get scared.
If Greg Blash was here, you'd have 3 minutes.
Anyway, I appreciate the time. I'm here to
Oh,
talk
your name,
about-
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ben Schneider, Kathleen Schneider, we live in 8 Donna Court.
Okay.
I want to talk about a quality of life issue about wood burning fire pit smoke in the surrounding neighbors. We're experiencing a serious quality of life issue with multiple neighbors frequently burning, wood burning fire pits. And that nuisance is impacting the fundamentals of how, the basic use of our property. It's overwhelming, we're unable to use our yard from any time to smoke, and it's not just one. So you can have at any one time multiple homeowners burning, wood burning smoke. And it, can't leave our windows open. Just a few weeks ago, we had a very nice get together in our house, had the windows open, beautiful spring day. Bam. Someone lit up a fire pit, had to close the windows and lock ourselves in. And it's happening with greater frequency. We saw with the pandemic, a big increase in purchasing of fire pits. It's just across the country, and it's going to get worse. I looked at a projection online that said the industry is going to double the revenue in the next 5 years in just the fire pit industry. So it's growing, it's a problem. According to the American Lung Association, I did a lot of research and I tried to say, okay, there's the annoyance, nuisance part of it, which just people are affected by the smell. And then there's the health issue. It is a real health issue. No wood fire is a healthy fire. Burning wood creates air pollution in the form of particulate matter. And particulate matter is actually considered a particulate pollution, which that's this very small particles that get beyond your initial ability to trap it and gets deep into your lungs. And it's a serious problem. I saw a quote that said, if your neighbor is burning wood and you could smell it, then you're breathing pollution. I tried to, so I did the usual thing, approached the neighbors. I approached one in particular, the one that is the worst offender, and asked if they would just reduce the fire pit usage. But they became belligerent, stating, and here's the fundamental issue, that they're not violating any laws, that they can do whatever they want on their property. So if you really think about it, there was no recourse I had. I can't call anyone, so Rob and Sarah just happened to come by my house one day and I had a chat with them and said, what can I do about this?
Is that where you were that day?
Yeah, the half hour, yeah.
So.
That's why I lost him that day.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
So.
Don't worry, he got
all
me
good.
back
Okay.
yesterday.
So I guess he wanted to inflict the same pain on everyone else here. So bottom line, due to a lack of a wood burning nuisance ordinance, property owners are allowed, they're essentially unrestricted use of wood-burning fire pits, creating an offensive, objectionable, and unhealthy smoke. The homeowners, and they have full use of their property, and they do that activity. When that happens, we have to lock up the windows, lock up the doors, get out of the yard. Just like everyone else was looking at doing more activities in the yard, we wanted to put in a pool. We said, how can we do that if that actually puts us even closer to our neighbors that are burning it? And it's unpredictable. We can no longer plan family get-togethers. We go on the deck, we had a very nice dinner, and one or more. It started with one, then now there's two, and the third just got a
In that section there?
So we're on Donna.
Mhm.
The street on the other side of us is Judith Ford.
Right.
And those are, and actually they're also smaller lots, so it's actually more condensed there. My neighbors.
But you mean Judith, because that's behind you,
That's
Donna's
behind
out.
us, so
Yep.
the two backyards abut
Mhm.
each other. And by the way, I don't know how much this bubbles up. I happened to start talking to my neighbors, and they said, "Oh yeah, this is terrible." We're also the ones that are also adjacent to us, and even one on Woods End that I have asthma. I can't go out when the smoke is there. It's a real problem. So I actually did some homework on the various public nuisance ordinances that are either in New Jersey or this town. The one that would have addressed this and had addressed it in the past was the Uniform Fire Code. At one point, several years ago, it actually stated open burning that's offensive or objectionable because of smoke emissions. You can't burn the fire. You can complain, and someone would come over and say you can't do that. They removed that part of it regarding offensive and objectionable and smoke emissions. They kept the rest of it, which wasn't relevant to our discussion. There's a New Jersey Public Health Nuisance Code, which states the escape into open air from any fire into the open air of such quantities of smoke as to cause injury, detriment, or annoyance to the inhabitants, or endanger their comfort, repose, and health and safety. So this looks like it's a possibility. So let me back up. So when I talked to Rob, I also saw on the township page the town manager, Dave.
Dave, he's on the
He's
phone.
the guy you send things to for quality of life issues. So he did. He took it. We sent it to the fire marshal, and that was a dead end because we now know the fire code doesn't handle it. So there may be codes that could be used. The bottom line, I'm trying to bring something to the table to say, how can we address it? Because we're dealing with a situation that you have some portion of your population that cannot get use and benefit of their property. Another ordinance I found is the pollution. Believe it or not, the air pollution ordinance in Ocean Township. No person is permitted to emit into the open air substances of quantities that will result in air pollution. Now you might say, who's producing air pollution other than factories? But the definition of air pollution is the presence in outdoor atmosphere of one or more contaminants or would unreasonably interfere with the enjoyment of life and property. Wood burning, by definition, you can go anywhere on various sites. The EPA is, when you burn it, there's various chemicals and gases and the particulate matter that is actually called pollution. So there may be some sources of within the current construct of using some of these. I don't know. And what's also interesting is, the quote of that neighbor is, there's no law against it. And I realized, I started looking at the noise ordinances, various ordinances. There's a noise ordinance. Imagine for a moment, I see noise as very analogous to this smoke. Someone on a property is blaring music that's interfering with their neighbors. It's causing a havoc. But the difference is they have recourse. There's a noise ordinance. Imagine we were all facing a situation where there was no noise ordinance. Someone 3 o'clock in the morning decides they want to play some loud music. That's the kind of thing we're facing. If we have windows open and someone decides to have smoke, we're stuck. So it's unfortunate, but there's no specific ordinance like the fire ordinance that does address the serious nuisance of fire pit smoke. The smoke is a quality of life issue, and it prevents homeowners from getting the use and enjoyment of the property. So, there's a need for change here. I have some proposal. I'm not saying that is the end all, be all. There are a lot of smart people around this table and elsewhere that can be consulted, but
So, Mr. Schneider, I think what we can do as a council is take what you're saying under advisement. And I mean, obviously, we set the policy and procedure for the township. The manager enforces it through the, different departments that we have. We can definitely discuss it because it's been brought up before. My suggestion is that if you do have some solutions to the idea, that they do get sent over to, Manager Brown. This way we can discuss them as a council and go over what we could potentially do so that we can try to please everybody here. And I get what you're saying.
If I get just 2 more minutes, that's actually my proposal. It's win-win for everybody. That's a rare case. It's essentially to implement an ordinance limiting outdoor fire pits to only propane and natural gas. What that allows is anyone who enjoys a fire can enjoy a fire. It doesn't produce smoke. It doesn't have the negative impact. So people who are impacted can enjoy their property, and people who want the fire can enjoy the fire. And there's no downside to such a situation. Now you might say it's an expense for people. I went online, Home Depot and all these different sites. You can get propane fire pits. They're generally affordable, $100 to $300, large numbers of them. You can also get very expensive ones. And some might say the fire isn't as robust. I saw various YouTube videos. You can have a very robust fire. I have a natural gas fireplace. You couldn't tell the difference with the wood burning one. So I believe that is the solution that addresses everyone's needs. And think about it, the person who wants a fire and likes wood fire, if there was an ordinance restricting it, they'd still be able to do a fire and use their property, and it would be a very limited impact of use of their property. But it would gain the restoration of those who are closed in and locked out from again, being able to use their properties. And think about it, how many more pools can be built in the tax system? Anyway.
That's good.
Anyway,
Thank
I
you,
appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you, Mr.
Can I ask one
Schneider.
question?
Sure.
I don't know if you know the answer, but what is the effect of wood burning indoor fireplaces, that smoke comes out through the chimney, on pollutants?
Good question. That one of the biggest impacts of having a fire pit is it's low to the ground. So the air doesn't dissipate up in a high chimney that you would have in a wood fireplace. As it's separate, it dissipates more. It still creates a problem, but it's much less of a problem than ones that are very close to the ground. You have your windows open, the air is going that way. One more thing is I'm east of most of the offenders. We're downwind of everything.
So you have to move west, is what you're saying.
Huh? I'll move west, that's an answer, unless,
Go west, young man.
yes.
I'll trade with you. Thank you, Mr. Schneider. We
And I did a
appreciate
lot
it.
of work, and if you would like, I would be very willing to participate in any such council, committees, teams.
As I mentioned to you, Councilwoman Donlin and I were in a meeting with another person in town who had the exact same problem. And we had fire marshals there, we had town manager there, we had lawyers there.
I don't remember, but I remember the issue. when
Okay,
it came
I
up.
don't remember if you were in that meeting either. So I think what triggered me to invite Mr. Schneider here was his analogy to the noise ordinance. I'm like, well, you got me there. So let us revisit it, as I said we would. So,
And there's other ordinances, you can't let your grass grow. If someone wanted high grass, you can't have it more than 10 inches. I started getting too much into the ordinances. But there's restrictions on people, that's called life. If we're all gonna live in a community together, we have to,
I
give
think
and
one
take.
of the issues that was kind of stymieing us was that it was hard to measure the amount of smoke like what, you can measure grass, you can measure decibels, you can, but how do you measure the pollution that's too much, in terms of
Well,
one
there's two
neighbor or
dimensions, there's
another?
pollution, and pollution is,
Or-
what I researched when it comes to pollution, it's, the impact is on duration, the concentration of it, and, those are two main. So it has to do with, the impact on people's health is, I could be further away, but if I'm in front, if I'm out there for 5-6 hours, then I'm getting a lot more than maybe you're in your few, your 10 minutes. One more thing is, the people who are burning the fires, I've been in front of enough fires, campfires, especially as a kid, you control where you sit. If there's a breeze, nobody's sitting in front of a fire with smoke blowing in their face. They can control that. But what they're not controlling is that smoke is going into their neighbor's yard, which is completely uncontrolled. The one thing about sound, by the way, you can lower the volume of the whatever sounds you're making. You can't control smoke and the odors that come from it.
All good points.
I try.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider.
Yeah.
So, is there a next step that?
So I don't know what, I know we were copied on the emails. I know the manager sent an email to the marshal, fire marshal. I don't know that I saw a response to that. If
I
you-
sent you a copy back too.
You did?
Bottom line, I sent it back to, I think, to everyone who was on that. They clearly, I had a discussion with them.
Okay,
It's not a fire issue.
okay.
Well, it's not a fire issue because they took it out of the Uniform Fire Code, which is a state code, right?
Right.
So the question really is, can you go to the state the same, because whatever you're talking about, it's not Ocean Township, it's throughout the state. So can you go to the state, who puts out the Uniform Fire Code, whoever that is, and say, why was that taken out? Put it back in, you're causing pollution and problems. And I'm not, that's another alternative.
Well,
that would
that's,
solve-
but you can implement fire codes independent. I mean, not fire codes, I'm sorry, you can't do it. I'm saying, this code, it's not a fire issue. It happened to be in the code, but it's not, they only consider now themselves responsible for safety of fire, where it's placed. Close to a building, essentially. But you have all kinds of ordinances that restrict for safety reasons, health reasons. That's why there's a pollution code. Maybe, I don't know, who's public health here that addresses it. You have, that's in the Ocean Township code. I don't know, can I call and say, hey, they're doing it, but that would cause an enforcement issue problem. You don't want a situation, well, I'm almost sure why they took it out. Think about it. You're telling people you could burn fires unless someone comes up and complains, which means then they can't burn it. But then how do I do that? I have to call someone in, police, fire, to object to it. That's not, I don't think that's the answer.
The marshals, the fire
Especially.
marshals. That's what has happened in the past. The fire marshals come in, talk to the person who's burning the fire, saying it's annoying. Somebody else, can you please
Right.
put it out?
But that's the same as a noise. No one stops the noise unless neighbor comes in and complains
Yeah.
and says it's noisy.
The difference is, you now have a fire, you have a code
No,
that
I
I can tell someone, if you don't.
We did have a fire code.
If you don't, the noise code, if you don't lower the volume, I
You can
call the
say-
police. And they know, and
Go
it's
and
pretty,
say-
everyone knows there's a noise code. Everyone knows, you're not gonna be playing outrageously loud music at 3 a.m. If you do, there's consequences. But right now, there aren't any.
I mean, I think we had also talked about there's types of wood that are cleaner burning than
Absolutely.
others. So if we allowed wood fires, maybe we have to restrict it to a certain type of wood.
So that's true. There's a lot of material that says how to burn in a way to reduce the smoke. But that would be even harder to enforce, and everything I've observed, the neighbors I see have piles of wood sitting out that are wet. Many times it's just green wood, and no one's going to come by and do an inspection of the type of wood. It's just not feasible to do that. And you're not even gonna be so someone starts a fire and it's smoking like crazy. I have some pictures that show smoke. My first reaction to a neighbor when they first did it, I thought there was a fire in the yard. I went over, it's their fire pit. So, but think about the alternative. Why are we so insistent that we don't want to restrict this? I know there's people passionate about a wood fire, but by you're limiting it. And by the way, there's many communities that do have restrictions. My brother lives in a condo community where there's condo homes, separate homes. They don't allow open fires, other than wood burning fires.
A condo community is different than a municipality, which is state action, as opposed to a condo community, which has private property rights and they can do whatever they want.
Right.
They can say you can't put a sign in your window. They
Right.
can do a whole bunch of things that can't necessarily be done by municipality. But
Mr.
it's something worth looking into. I'm
Well,
just
let's
saying.
explore what
Yeah.
are the options and how do we fundamentally go back to the problem? There are people who can't use their properties, and then we want to fix. There are people that like wood burning. How do we fix it? And there is one actually technical solution. They now have something called smokeless wood fire pits. That's a newer
I
technology.
saw that.
And when I saw that,
It actually goes.
Yes, it improves it, but it also, I believe, even for the people who like fires, it doesn't produce the same kind of experience.
Are you talking about the solo stove? Are you talking about the solo stove?
No,
With
no.
the,
It does like a double burn. It has a two.
the air comes
Yeah,
under.
it comes back
and
out,
That's
but
like a
they
solar
usually
stove.
concentrate. Now maybe that's a compromise, but I also hear that if you don't use the right wood, etc., you're still going to get smoke.
Mr. Schneider, we can check neighboring municipalities to see whether or not they have an ordinance that's similar without rewriting the script here. We will look into this. We'll see. Take everything that you're saying under advisement for sure.
So I actually have more in this. What I'd like, can I leave a copy?
Sure.
I don't know who would.
Jesse can take it, and then she can.
I only have one. I know you probably all want one.
No, Jesse
We're all
will
dying.
take it. She'll scan it.
I'll scan it.
Yeah. Thank you very
All
much.
right, I appreciate that.
Jack, anything before we go and close? Because we've got like a minute.
Just one quick thing.
Yes, sir.
With regard to this fellow's comments, the word that struck me most was health. If it's gonna upset your health, you have no right to cause anybody to feel that, so. But I think the town has to do a lot of research from what I've heard here. Fireless wood, well, I don't know, whatever the words were you do. The other thing that I wanted to just say, and it's not by way of a negative, but Kelly, I got a phone call about clean sweep, but I didn't know where it was. There were several towns around, and I get these alerts from several towns, because I have people who live in different towns and all. But what I would suggest is, when it comes out, you say, this is Ocean Township Clean Sweep, because it doesn't say Ocean Township at all, so I didn't know it was West Long Branch, which I get these calls from, or Long Branch, because I have people that live there or that have friends there. So I think you had to put the identification that this is Ocean Township, that's delivering that. It's a simple thing.
Okay.
But it struck me, what is this? So, it just would help.
Thank you, Jack.
That's all I got, I'm ready to go.
Appreciate it.
All right, young man.
Whereas
Well, have a good
Section 8 of
time.
the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances. And whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Ocean County of Monmouth as follows. The public shall be excluded from discussion of and action upon here and after specified subject matters. Number 2, the general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows. Litigation, various matters, litigation, various properties, personnel, various departments. Can we have a roll call, please? Actually, motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Just want to remind everybody that the council meetings will be audio and videotaped. So could we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Napolitani?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Donlin? Here. Councilmember Achara?
Here.
Fisher?
Here.
Terry?
Sure. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied, and a copy of the annual notice was sent to the Asbury Park Press and sent to the Coaster, posted in Town Hall, and filed in the office of the municipal clerk on December 8th, 2022. There are 2 emergency exits to my right that'll take you to the front of the building, and there's another one to my left that'll take you to the rear. Please make sure all your cell phones are off. If you do need to make an emergency call, please step outside. Before we start honoring actually, let's have a Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silent prayer. We also want to recognize that our community development son, Ron Kirk's son, passed away suddenly this week, and we have him in our thoughts and prayers. You may be seated. Before we come down from the dais to honor our football team, I would like to just do the quick council comments. So let's start off with Councilwoman Terry.
Yes, hi everybody.
Yeah.
Great to see all the football players out here. I just wanted to notify everybody that we did a groundbreaking at Maya's Playground. That's going to be over at Cupwell Springs. We are still allowing folks to submit pavers, and they don't have to be in memory of Maya. They can be a loved one. So if you're interested in something like that, please let me know. And we're excited to see this new park, which will be officially opened on September 12th. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Donlin.
Yes, we had a successful, is this a song?
Doesn't sound like it. Underneath.
This one's on. Okay. So we had a successful Green Fest on Sunday in honor of Earth Day. So I just want to say thank you to all the volunteers and people who made that happen, including Jack Mamie, who is the head of our green team. It was raining, but the sun came out and we had a beautiful day for that. The Shade Tree Commission is working with our tree expert in town on getting some trees in the ground this spring, a few trees around the golf course, and a new project hopefully that will be approved by the Board of Education, which will be at the intermediate school in the Monarch Butterfly there. The Shade Tree is planning on donating trees there. We also have a clean sweep that was supposed to be this weekend, but because of the rain, it's going to be canceled or at least postponed until sometime in June. So I'd just like to ask everybody who maybe was thinking about participating in that, keep an eye out for your storm drains in front of your homes because they often get clogged with leaves and debris. So if you can just clear off the storm drains, that'll help the storm water run off from the rains. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Fisher.
Yes, so did anybody have a chance to go to the Veterans Memorial dedication on Saturday? Well, if you did not, we had over 500 people attend. They actually landed a Black Hawk helicopter on the lawn right in front of the library. It was actually an incredible event, but I encourage all of you to go check out this memorial. It's right behind the library, and in conjunction with the VFW and Commander Mack, we had a wonderful day. So it was probably one of, and I was telling the council before, I've done this for 4 years now. It was probably one of the top days I've seen where the community really came out to support. So congratulations to Mike Gutrico, Jen Nordstrom, the entire Recreation Department, the entire DPW department. Everybody did a great job. It couldn't have been a better day. I have one last thing to say. This is our last council meeting before the election, which is on May 9th. So I encourage everybody to get out and vote. If you have a vote by mail, make sure you get it in. And I encourage everyone to get out and vote because you can't complain if you don't vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Achara.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to pick up where Ms. Terry left off on groundbreakings. We had a groundbreaking yesterday?
Yes.
Yesterday. We are having a dog park in town. We had been looking for locations for the last year plus. Every time we thought we had one, it didn't work out. So I got to give kudos to Laura Mastretta, who no longer lives in town, but was a longtime Ocean resident, who, if you know her, loves dogs, has a bunch of them, and breeds and trains them. She suggested, well, why don't we use Welch Park? That's a great idea. We don't own it. It's a county park, so we reached out to the Parks Commissioner, Andrew Spears, and got permission to do it. So Monmouth County Commissioner Ross LaCitra and Tom Arnone were there, along with members of the council yesterday, and we broke ground. The dog park is going to be adjacent to the tennis courts on West Park Avenue, so the outdoor tennis courts. They'll be right to the left. If you're facing the tennis courts, they'll be to the left, right in Wells Park. It's already marked out. From what we understand, it'll be quick. Quick in government terms could be 5 years. No, okay. But they say it'll be relatively fast. So we'll keep you posted, but long time in coming, but we're excited to have it in town.
Thank you, Rob. Marty?
Nothing tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Except that it's very loud.
It is very
A little
loud.
bit.
Yes, not here.
Mine's loud.
We're down here, 3, 2.
I was about to do the Lou Gehrig speech.
Let me start my mini report. There will be a letter carriers food drive the second Saturday in May. If anybody would like to donate food to the food bank, the letter carriers will pick up that food, non-perishable, at your mailbacks on the second Saturday in May. We have the Mayor's Charity Ball next Saturday, May 6th at Deal Golf and Country Club. The beauty of this Mayor's Charity Ball this year is the proceeds will be going to the Maya Lynn Terry Foundation, which supports pediatric cancer and their families that have to struggle with this deadly disease. The fact that we're able to do this and raise the funds that we can is one of the reasons why the Maya Lynn Terry Foundation is graciously donating that park to this community at Kepwell. We're really excited about that park that's being donated by the Maya Lynn Terry Foundation in conjunction with Where Angels Play. This is a park that's roughly $250,000 for our residents and anybody to use. There we go.
Try this one.
Must be mine. We will be honoring former Mayor Chris Siciliano at this event. We are also honoring the Stavola family in Ocean Plaza, which is where the Wegman Shopping Center and Staples Shopping Center is. And the reason why we're honoring them is because we are taking a long, hard look at Route 35, and we know that that's an older complex than our community, and they seem to continually update it and make it look good. This has been something that the council is charged with looking at, is Route 35, and trying to make it look better and more robust. We did a ribbon cutting last week for a Jersey Shore Fitness, which is on Route 35. Really great concept. New businesses coming in town, so we're excited about that. And we're also going to be honoring Mike Patrico and Jen Nordstrom. And as Councilman Fisher said earlier, these two by far knock it out of the park for this community. They have taken events that we've asked them to provide. We've added events. We've enhanced events that we've had, and they have just really taken the ball and run with it for this community. And a lot of this stuff for you kids too. There's the Christmas tree lighting that we have, the menorah lighting. So there are a lot of great events in town. And again, we can't thank Jen and Mike enough. So next Saturday, and there are tickets still available. You can reach out to Kelly Terry, as she's still taking reservations, I believe. Without further ado, I'd like us to come down off the dais, and we are going to be honoring the Ocean Township Youth Football and Cheer. Let's go down.
Hey, Rob,
Yo,
is Rich helping you dress?
no, good, right? Did it by myself.
He did it very good.
So again, this is really one of the special things that we get to do as a council, and this is truly exciting when you get you kids up here with your coaches. And let's get your head coach up here right now. Timmy, come on up. I got to meet this guy because my kid also played football. And if I seem a little off today, it's because I'm exhausted, because that kid that played ball at your age kept me up all night last night because he ended up in the hospital down in Tallahassee and there was nothing I could do for him. But he's doing okay. He just had his birthday, and I'm wishing him a happy birthday here as we honor you football players and cheerleaders. This is really exciting. Coach, let me ask you a question. 10-0. Phenomenal record.
It was a crazy season. We didn't expect to, but you just got to win every game. Doesn't matter if you blow somebody out or just win by a point. And we won a lot of close games, and we're fortunate.
Coach, what is so special about this team that made them get to the point that they were 10-0?
They played as one. They played as a team. And the defense came along so strong, where the offense only had to score a touchdown, and we won every game. We scored more than one touchdown, but that's all we needed.
So, really, the whole thing here is about teamwork. So, Coach, can we get the rest of your coaches up here? You want to call them up?
Let's go. Justin Brand, Charles Reevy, Tom Salem, Darius Key. Let's go.
So guys, these are who you look up to. They led you to victory this year, 10-0. And it's an awesome feat because Ocean Township now, of course, we have Kelly up here, whose nephew is a quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you don't get any bigger than that, and that kid's a product of the Ocean Township school system. Anybody can dream and get to that level. And Kenny proved that. So, Coach, what do we see out here?
Let's go. Let's start from Western. Levi Braxton. Hold on. Yes, he's down. Please.
Coach Tom. Coach Justin Brand. Coach Tim Canavan. We got Coach Tim Canavan. All right, now we're going to start off with our kids. All right, Levi, we're going to dig through here. Oh, they're not out. Let's start right there. Go right there. Go to the top. He's good. All right, let's start off with Austin Alberts.
Austin is our team manager. Austin, stay up here. Go right there. Marcus Canavan. Big Dominic Ciliato. Corey Brand. Duke Haberman. Darius Key. Junior. Levi Braxton. Nope. DeAndre Miller. I like the shoes better. Ryan Travis. Travis Campanella. Bryce Jameson. Shane Catalona. Colin Smart. Jazier Carson. Trevor Seelan. Evan Zentai. I think that's it. I'm just kidding. Weston Lorari.
So,
Short guy in front of me.
so go ahead, Rob, get in the front.
Don't block Rob.
Yeah, get out of here. All right, look who you're standing in front of and then go accordingly.
Let's go, coaches. Get in here. Come on, coaches. Let's go, guys.
I know, nobody can too. Can you come over here? There you go. Somebody will get it. Stay still.
All right, Coach Canavan, we appreciate you coming in. You showed us what teamwork does. Gonna take a quick recess. Okay, now that we'll re-adjourn, we are going to have an introduction of our budget presentation. So do I have a motion to approve the introduction of the 2023 municipal budget? Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. And that hearing will be held on, is it June 8th? The purpose of the public portion is to solely ask questions to understand resolutions that appear on this agenda and is not an occasion for a public hearing on an ordinance. All questions not related to this agenda should be asked during the public comments portion at the conclusion of the meeting. If you have any questions for the agenda that we have posted, please stand up, state your name and address for the record. Seeing here none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the January 12th, 2023 public meeting? Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Napolitani?
Yes. Resolution 87, authorizing a developer's agreement for the following. Lot A. Wait a minute.
You have to do the individual action from 87. You want to do 87?
Because mine's in, what do you call it?
87.
Wait, resolution 87.
Yep.
One of.
That's what I did. Resolution 87, authorizing a developer's agreement for the following. Block 3, Lot 7.01, 2123 Highway 35, Gold Coast Cadillac LLC. Block 209, Lot 6 and 7, 1107 Highway 35, NKN Enterprise Holdings LLC. And finally, Block 182, Lot 73 and 78, 1502 and 1560 Highway 35, Floor & Decor Outlets of America, Inc. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Napolitani?
Yes. Resolution 88, accept the performance guarantees for the following. Block 25, Lot 141, 436 Brookside Avenue. 436 Brookside Avenue, 5th 10 LLC. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Napolitani?
Yes.
And please just say, that should have read consent agenda
Okay.
for 87. down, so if you want to start from 89 to 102, and we're withholding 91.
Okay. Resolutions 89 through 102, we're gonna hold 91. Someone please offer on the consent agenda.
I'll offer.
Roll call.
I'll second.
Sorry, Mayor.
Second.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Capitani?
Yes. Vouchers in the amount of $9,130,116.60. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Capitani?
Yes. Individual action. Resolution 97 authorizing the cancellation of real estate taxes paid for totally disabled veterans to the following. Block 73, Lot 1 in the amount of $3,021.44 and Block 121, Lot 5 in the amount of $9,155.87. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Capitani?
Yes. Resolution 98 authorizing a refund of the homestead rebate credit to the following. Block 34, Lot 1 in the amount of $508.38. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Roll call. Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Capitani?
Yes. Resolution 99 authorizing the cancellation of taxes for 2022 and refunding or crediting the tax overpayments resulting from the New Jersey State Tax Court and Monmouth County Tax Board judgments to the following taxpayers. Block 42, Lot 4 in the amount of $2,937.47. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Capitani?
Yes. Resolution 100 authorize the consideration of the following requests, proposals, and bids. Interior renovations for the Colonial Terrace building located at 1001 Wickapecka Drive, MTB LLC, Neptune City, New Jersey, in the amount of $992,800. And the Ocean Township Pool and Tennis Facility, supply and delivery of sodium hydrochlorite, liquid chlorine, Miracle Chemical Company in Farmingdale, New Jersey, in the amount of $4.78, almost 79 cents per gallon, for a delivery at a cost not to exceed $55,000. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Capitani?
Yes. And Resolution 101, authorizing a shared services agreement with the City of Plainfield for the Chief Financial Officer Services. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Capitani?
Yes. Ordinances. First ordinance up is Ordinance 2417, which is an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 21 of the Comprehensive Land Development Ordinance of the Township of Ocean, which is resolution regarding Ordinance 2417. Someone please open public discussion on Ordinance 2417.
I'd like to move to open public discussion on ordinance 2417.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Capitani?
Yes. Anyone wishing to be heard on Ordinance 2417, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Seeing here none, someone please close public discussion on Ordinance 2417.
I move to close public discussion on ordinance 2417.
And, okay,
I'll second.
second.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Capitani?
Yes. Action on Ordinance 2417.
I'd like to move to approve ordinance 2417 and publish according to law.
Second.
I'll second.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Capitani?
Yes. Ordinance 2417 passes. Ordinance 2418. An ordinance amending Chapter 7 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Ocean, 1965, entitled Property Maintenance and Housing. Someone please open public discussion on Ordinance 2418.
Make a motion to open public discussion on ordinance 2418.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Capitani?
Yes. Again, anyone wishing to be heard on Ordinance 2418, please step up to the microphone. Seeing here none, motion to close public discussion on ordinance 2418.
I'd like to make a motion to close public discussion on ordinance 2418.
Second.
I'll second.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Action on ordinance 2418.
I'd like to move to approve ordinance 2418 and publish according to law.
Second.
Second?
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Ordinance 2418 passes. Ordinance 2419. An ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a roadway dedication deed from Brielle Avenue LLC, grantor. Someone please open public discussion on ordinance 2419.
I'd like to open public discussion on ordinance 2419.
Someone second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Anyone wishing to be heard on ordinance 2419? Seeing here none, motion to close public discussion on ordinance 2419.
I move to close public discussion on ordinance 2419.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Action on ordinance 2419.
I move to approve ordinance 2419 and publish according to law.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Ordinance 2419 passes. Ordinance 2420, an ordinance establishing a cap bank for the year 2023 in accordance with NJSA 40A:4-45.14. Someone open public discussion on ordinance 2420.
I'd like to open public discussion on ordinance 2420.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Anyone wishing to be heard on ordinance 2420, please step up to the microphone. Seeing here none, motion to close public discussion on ordinance 2420.
I move to close public discussion on ordinance 2420.
Second.
Second.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Ordinance 2420 passes.
Oh, I gotta vote on it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You really want to get out of
Yeah.
here.
It's okay.
Action on ordinance 2420.
I move to approve ordinance 2420 and publish according to law.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. And introductions of ordinance 2421. An ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 13 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Ocean 1965 entitled Taxation. Someone please introduce ordinance 2421.
I move to introduce ordinance 2421.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. And that ordinance will have its public hearing on May 11th, 2023. Introduction of ordinance 2422. An ordinance amending and supplementing ordinance 2343 entitled An Ordinance Amending the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Ocean 1965 relating to personnel policies, practices, and procedures. Someone introduce ordinance 2422.
I move to introduce ordinance 2422.
Second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Ordinance 2422 will also have its public hearing on May 11th, 2023. We will now open it up for public discussion. There is a time limit. You are also on video and audio. If you would like to make any comments in regard to the Township of Ocean, anything, not germane to the agenda, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mike Beeson.
Oh, I didn't start yet, Mike.
Oh.
Name and address.
Mike Beeson, 20 of the Fells Way, Ocean Township, New Jersey. I just wanted to thank the council for, is that your timer?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm now really nervous. I live in Ocean Township. I want to thank the council tonight for approving our project with S.C. Johnson to help collect plastic film for the community. We're going to roll this out in the next couple months. As a community member, if you're interested, you can request a bucket, which will be obviously red and white, where you can put out your plastic film, like plastic bag, dry cleaner bags. All this material can be picked up by the work with the township, and we will collect it, and it will be turned in. It will be brought to a facility where it be turned into plastic pellets that are reused for durable goods. Not only this is good for the environment, it keeps it out of your garbage and out of your recycling. So it's just a great program, and I want to thank the council for implementing this. I look forward to starting the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
It's-
Under my 3 minutes.
Yeah, great idea. Thank you, Mike. Anyone else wishing to be heard? Our former councilman is making his way.
Take your time.
Were the tickets cheaper in the back row?
I know, right?
My name is John Huss. I live at 175 Old Orchard Lane, in the Matter. I'm probably a couple of months late that I wanted to the night we installed Kelly and congratulate her. And I have this thing that Bevan Urban may be one of the best residents we've ever had in this township. And his genes go with her. Good luck. I've said to a couple of people that I'd like to see a parade back again, and Bevan Urban would be the Grand Marshal, and alongside him would be sitting the mayor of Township of Ocean, Kelly Tracy. That's the future. Don't laugh about it.
I have to.
Now, I was watching TV. This goes back again, and they were talking about President Carter. And President Carter is, a former president of the United States, and he's under hospice care right now. In fact, I just checked up on him. I did that because I had a personal relationship with him. Also, I was on Darlene Avenue. I was riding one day. It was back in 1976, and there's Joe Playa walking down the street, and I stopped to see. Joe says that. He says, "Well, I'm going into see if I remember his name." The attorney, quick help. Anyhow, but Joe, President Carter's campaign stop was here in Ocean Township. Whether a lot of people don't realize that, but and I said to Joe to ask him about the kid from New Jersey that he met at the National JC Convention in Atlanta, Georgia, back in 1972. Which the conversation with President Carter was about nonpartisan government, and it struck me that he loved the JCs because you got 300,000 guys, and we're all nonpartisan. He said you guys get things done because you don't have to worry about partisanship, and. He says, I like that, and then I said, well, our town is nonpartisan, and he says, congratulations to your town. So that's from President Carter. He's 98 years old, and God only knows how long he's going to be alive. But it goes back, and what keys me is that I like that to go. Look, at 87, you can take the red. I have macular degeneration in both eyes, and I can't see. And one of the things is I don't see the color red.
I'll let you know.
All right?
I got you, John.
So that you can take your red. But I listen sometimes, and I watch this council, and in the past, even the last couple council maybe. And I find an outside interest from certain people that create the problems that we have in this town, And if I say Vingopal, I'll say Vingopal, whatever his name is. But you guys listen to him too much. Be your own. God Almighty, be your own. you know, and let him come to you. Don't you go to him. It seems like you go to him instead of you them coming to you. And just get bye.
I got another minute. Go ahead, do a good job.
But anyhow, that's basically, you know, what I wanted to express, that this nonpartisan, please stay nonpartisan, you know, and don't listen to outside interests. And I think that's created a little bit of a problem by listening to him and following a little bit what he's requesting. All the way, you know, and I don't want to name everything, but there's a lot. Right, that's basically, I'll end there, but I had some more. You know, yeah, forget it.
Thank you, John. Anyone else?
Sidley Cash, 172 Larchwood Avenue, Oakhurst. Sometimes when I come home, I feel like I'm living in Waco, where they were surrounded and they had the lights beaming on them. There's been a lot of new construction lately, and they're using high-intensity lighting on their homes. And the problem is that our homes in our area are very close together. So I've got a high-intensity beam coming diagonally across the street into my bedroom. That would be okay, but if I go into the other bedroom to try and sleep, I've got a light coming from the back. Now I have another construction going on. I think that something needs to be done, number one, to set new standards for lighting as far as intensity and type of lighting and direction of lighting, and to follow up with that with some sort of enforcement as we wind up with new construction and with houses being retrofitted. The other thing that I wanted to address tonight was the tree situation. I understand that it was a tree surgeon who came down here and complained that he couldn't make a living in the town. You don't owe him a living. We don't owe him a living. And what's happened is our tree ordinance has become so watered down that it is virtually useless. I worked with a gentleman who worked on the ordinance for Jackson, and he told me that the normal density of tree here would be between 80 and 200 trees per acre. We have very few compared to the number that would be a natural existence here. Each oak tree contains or absorbs 60 gallons of water. When we get rid of these trees, what happens is we wind up with other problems, and there are going to be water problems here in the future. It's not going to be my problem, but for the next generation, there's going to be water shortages and there's going to be flooding. And something needs to be done to protect the environment. The ancient Talmud says that he who spares a tree will spare a man. And I would expand on that and say that he who spares the trees will spare mankind. Thank you.
Mr. LaCash, just so we can, address the tree ordinance piece, that tree ordinance, our tree ordinance has been updated, and it's pretty tight. I'm going to let Deputy Mayor Donlin speak on, how this tree ordinance that I believe you're talking about is totally different than what we have currently right now. As a matter of fact, it's completely the opposite of what you're talking about. So, Deputy Mayor, if you could speak about that.
So I appreciate your comments on trees, because I feel the same way that they're important for water retention and flood prevention and a number of other things in town. A year ago, we passed a updated, more stringent tree ordinance, allowing fewer trees to be taken down, and defining a tree as a wider diameter, not just 6 inches, but up to 10 inches. You have to apply for a permit to take the trees down. You can take up to 3 trees down every 3 years at no either replacement cost or putting another tree in. Beyond that, you either have to replace the tree or you have to pay into the shade tree fund, which we are using to plant trees throughout town. Now, there are ways that we were hoping that people would choose to plant them in the ground instead of just taking them down. But we've found that a lot of people are just paying into the shade tree fund. So we would like to strengthen it even further, and we're looking at ways to do that, particularly looking at different parts of town which might have higher tree canopy versus less, and working out a formula where it's perhaps a percentage of your property that needs to be with tree coverage. So we're currently working on even an updated tree ordinance to go beyond the updated one, to make it more equitable and fair and hopefully preserve more trees.
I certainly appreciate that. One suggestion that I might make that perhaps could be added in would be to have no tree removal starting Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock through the weekend, which is when most of these companies come out, and I think in many instances are avoiding our ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Can I ask him a question?
Yeah.
I apologize.
Sid.
What was the address? So actually, follow-up question on the lighting. Is it pre-construction or they're done and the lights are already shining in your home after the house has been up? Or both?
Well, all right, so there's the house diagonally across the street from where I live. I hate that thing. The house diagonally across the street from where I live has had a light up. They have massive lighting. It comes on every night, and it shines directly into my bedroom.
So it's already lived in. It's a current.
That's an existing
Okay.
house that had lighting added to it.
Got it.
I have a renovation going on behind me. My backyard is totally illuminated. I don't really want to complain about that.
Oh, you just did. We're on television.
I'm sorry?
You just did. We're on television.
Yeah, the reason I'm saying that is I haven't met the owner yet, and I haven't had a chance to discuss it with him. You know, perhaps he will just,
right,
you know, ameliorate the situation. But I don't know. And I think we're generally that's a problem. I mean, if you go down to Sally's Swamp in the summer, you're going to see that whole thing is lit up. I mean, well, I don't understand why it's needed. We don't have that kind of crime.
Right.
We don't have robberies, but all we have are these massive lights all over.
The planning board.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Visuals. Yes.
How we doing?
Good. John Verrilli, 165 Larchwood Avenue.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm good. I'd like to discuss Chapter 14 of the Township of Ocean Municipal Code, which addresses swimming pools. It is unclear as to the date that the township adopted this ordinance. There is a reference to the Swimming Pool Code of New Jersey circa 1970, but that refers to the general public, club, camp, and commercial pools within the township. That being said, I'm unaware as to the date that Chapter 14 was adopted by the township. It seems that this ordinance was enacted sometime before the turn of the century. Conceivably, it could be close to 50 years old. In any event, I'm here to address Ordinance 14-6.2, which is the location of a private swimming pool. The current ordinance allows for the placement, this is quote, allows for the placement of a swimming pool anywhere on a residential property as long as the pool is not installed nearer than 10 feet to the property line nor nearer to the street line or lines upon which the property fronts than the main front wall of the dwelling erected thereon. In other words, the current ordinance allows for the placement of a pool almost anywhere on the property as long as it doesn't extend past the front of the dwelling and doesn't violate the 10-foot setback requirement. In my observations, it appears traditional to me that most homeowners would place their residential swimming pool in their backyard. However, I'd estimate that in the last 5 years or so, I've noticed a spate of pools being placed in the side yard when the backyard could not accommodate it. This results in an obtrusive situation for the adjacent homeowner who not only has to endure his neighbor's playlists, but also the shouts and other loud disturbances emanating from the pool area. Not only does the ordinance allowance of the pool placement create a nuisance for the adjacent property owner, it is also violative of the common law covenant of use and quiet enjoyment of the homeowner's property. This is a concept that runs with the land of each individual property owner and guarantees that each property owner should enjoy the possession of his premises in peace and without disturbance. Stewart versus Drake, 9 New Jersey Law 141. Let me give you some specific examples of how the current pool ordinance has helped change the character of my neighborhood in an adverse manner. Please look at the pool, and I hope you could take a note of this, in the side yard of 230 South Lincoln. While it is beautifully done, and it lies completely within the parameters of the current pool ordinance, would you enjoy that situation if you were the owner of 4 Oakwood Avenue? Look across the street at 7 Oakwood. Again, a beautiful pool, constructed to the letter of your ordinance. Even the placement of the pool equipment is in code. But is it appropriate? Is it the neighborly thing to do? Just ask the owner of 187 Pinewood whether he might like that situation. But if I was a betting man, I'd wager he does not. I ask you these questions. You are, after all, the decision makers for this town. If you look at these examples, I hope you conclude that the ordinance is flawed. It is being used in a way that violates the right to the use of quiet enjoyment that all property owners have through a covenant under the law of land ownership. In such a case, don't you have an obligation to step up and adjust or rewrite 14-6.2 of the swimming pool ordinance? Possibly increase the setback to 25 feet? Societal mores have changed significantly since your ordinance was drafted. As long as this section of the pool ordinance remains unchanged, this type of construction will continue. Why not? It's perfectly legal, but is it appropriate? If you disagree and choose to do nothing, that is your right. But if you do nothing, and the character of the neighborhood continues to deteriorate, those who are long-term residents will be forced to sell their homes. Hopefully you will do what is fair and what is just. This is your obligation. And I just wanted to bring this to your attention because if you see these 2 examples and you lived in the adjacent houses, you wouldn't like it much.
John, I wrote down those addresses. I'm sure.
But they're beautiful pools.
No, 1 or 2 of us.
Parameters of the law.
John, 1 or 2 of us will go out there and take a look at this, and we'll discuss the ordinance with our attorneys for sure.
I wish I had a pool the way they look. You see them. They look palatial. They look like a hotel.
But John, to be honest, I mean, you have a legitimate point, but this is the first we're hearing about. So somebody will take a look that I know of. So,
I just stumbled upon. I don't really.
well, you should look where you're going so you don't stumble somewhere.
John, I saw those yesterday when we were knocking. That's how
Oh, you saw them?
Well,
There you go.
yeah, we were right in your neighborhood.
But they're beautiful.
They are gorgeous.
But the side of the house, the pool's here, the side of the house is there. With the windows.
If I remember though, John, you didn't like the basketball courts either. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but I'll take a hockey rink. I want to go see the game.
Thank you, Mr. Barilli. Anyone else wishing to be heard? Thank you, John. Seeing here none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Capitani?
Yes. Meeting is adjourned.
I was told you don't need a motion to adjourn.